So hey, how are you doing?
I am good. I was running a little late today. Work went down to the wire, so I'm like switching gears now and I had to stop and take a deep breath but life is good. How about you?
Good. So often we don't stop and take a deep breath, and that's usually when something happened. I had that happen this week where I got a little. I actually I got a massive headache, and my body just kind of went, "What?" And I it was a way of my body saying, "Slow down. You're doing too much."
Yeah.
So yeah.
So true because I was actually just last night I was praying and I was like, God, like what happened? Like I was like we were talking, like I was talking, I was praying, you were talking back, cause like what happened? And I'm like, okay, so I'm gonna just be praying. I'm just like I want to hear more of you, like I want to hear you, like what's happening here. And like I slowed down and got more into prayer, and it's like, okay, well, you have to slow down enough to hear. I think God can speak to us in all moments in any ways he chooses and whatnot, but for regular ongoing dialogue, I think you have to be willing to slow down and receive. And it's like, oh, yeah, yeah, okay. I'm not doing my part. Got it. But that's the
You hit
nature
the
of me.
nail on the head because you're right. God is always speaking to us, but we are
Yeah.
not always listening.
And then boy, did he talk. And I'm like, oh, that hurt a little bit. That one hit close to home.
Get a little called out on the carpet.
Well, yeah, it was funny because it went something like this without getting into the whole story of it. Actually, I'll get into the story of it a little bit. Uh, I was irritated with my husband for not, he didn't do anything. It was just, have you ever had those moments where there's one little thing that happens and like your brain like dominoes it? I
Yeah.
mean, so it went to this thing where he has these sweatpants that have a rip in them that I think is irreparable. And my mind's like, sweatpants, just get rid of them. I threw them away. And he was going to fix them. And it just irritated me because I'm like, he always wants to fix things, repairs. He's always going to keep it forever and ever. And I'm always like, get rid of it. It's like we're just very different that way. And for whatever reason, it hit me wrong. And it was like this domino effect. Like it turned into like my whole life. Can't get rid of this. Never gonna get rid of everything. Never gonna get this. Like this, my mind went on this whole thing, right? And
Oh, so good.
and then he could tell I was really upset. I'm assuming. I don't know. I still really haven't talked it through with him, but we're fine today, by the way. It's not like there's anything going on. But um, he came to bed and he obviously could feel that I was. I don't know what he felt, but he went upstairs. So I think he was kind of like, okay, I'm just not gonna go to bed right now. But and so then I'm laying in bed, right? And here's where I'm praying and praying and praying, and I'm just like, what is going on? And da 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 da. And I was just like, God, I just don't how do we, I just don't see a way through this. Like we're always so different and I get irritated with things and he gets irritated with things. And it's just what I mean, I was seriously like off the deep end. You would have thought that something major catastrophic had happened in our lives. And it was just this little tiny thing. And I was praying, I'm not hearing your voice, like we were talking, like what's the deal? And then I heard him say, I am the waymaker. And I'm like, yeah, so like I'm falling back into I'm gonna try and do this and force this and make this happen. And he's kind of like, you're like, remember that whole surrender thing we had going on at Faith Over Fear, you know? And I'm like, okay, got it, got it, got it. And I'm like, like, well, then what am I supposed to do? Because I am super activator, like right now, right now. Like, let's do everything and let's get it done tomorrow. And he is the exact opposite. Let's talk about it. Let's think about it. Let's get all the details. And then let's do it one thing at a time over time. And so we have to meet in the middle, right? Which he's pretty good. He's probably better at meeting in the middle than I am. I because I forget to be patient. And so then I was like, what am I supposed to do? And then God says, love him. Like that's what you're supposed to do. You're just supposed to love him. And I'm like, oh yeah, I remember you telling me that before when I surrendered. And it's just like, and I'm like, oh my gosh. I'm like, and I don't remember what else I was spouting about, but then God was like, trust me. I'm like, oh, I think I remember that too when I was trying to read it. So it was just this, moment where God was like, Shannon, be still. I got this. And you do your part and we'll be fine. But when you try and do my part, then, which, goes a little bit back to what we talked about, I think on one of these talks when we first got back, and I don't remember who said it, you probably will, but the whole God is not required to bless your version of his vision. And it's like, how often are we just so into our moment and what we're trying to accomplish that you forget to surrender and walk in God's path. You start walking in your own. And then you have to shovel it and make the path and dig out the rocks and do all the stuff because because you're trying to do it the hard way.
I want to say that that was Ray,
Yeah, I don't remember if that was Ray.
but I remember distinctly that being said. And what's so funny is those little irritations, right? Those little irritations that happened. Well, also what happens is we have that, and how it gets blown so out of proportion is we allow a spirit of offense to happen. We
Yeah.
allow entities to come in and attach. And I know people are like, so first off, whether you believe them or not, there are dark energies, what entities, whatever you want to call it, dark spirits. I just call it an entity because it's something that comes in and feeds on that negativity. And as
Right,
you were
because
talking,
everything has an opposite.
yeah.
It's
So
like a pendulum. You can't have good without having some form of bad. Call it
e-
what you want.
exactly. And so as you were talking, I was like, ooh, Shannon, like some entities came in and just attached to that the small thing, right?
Yeah.
And blew it out of proportion and got it bigger and bigger. And they were just like, yum, 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 yum. Keep those negativity things happening because, and your husband's probably sitting there going, they're a pair of sweatpants. Right?
Yeah,
Like
right.
confused. And I've had very, very similar things happen. In fact, it reminded me of a walk my husband and I took, and it was on Easter of all things. And we went on this little walk, and I said one small thing that it was something about him cutting out sugar more because of the amount of sugar he was intaking was like starting to make me worried. Like my brain goes, well, I don't want you to have diabetes, like, right? But it was just like it was a small thing. And next thing I know, we were in this full-blown fight. And I got home and I sat down and I was like, what is going on? Because he thought I was trying to take something away or something. And when I got into prayer, it was we had picked up like 3 entities on that
Mm.
walk because of that one small thing, and so worked on clearing that, and then after that, like, we were fine. But
Yeah.
so often those little things get blown out of proportion, but there's outside influences that are
Well,
feeding off of that.
yeah, and I think don't mind my cat who was just being chased by the other cat who's running to safety behind us. But I think we were just talking about this one of the other days, and it's funny because even when you know that it happens, because I think we were talking about how these big things, like there's not like these big moments of the big battle royal blowout that, destroys marriages. It's not like this one moment, this one thing. It's these little tiny entities, these little tiny things over time where there is just this little bit of a opening for Satan to come in and turn nothing into something if you're not going back to God.
I found it. I actually had opened right
Mm,
to it was Cap Chatfield.
okay.
So Cap had said, I'm not obligated to bless your version of my vision. That's God saying that to him. I am
Yeah.
obligated to bless my word.
Oh, yeah. And now see, I don't remember writing down that second part. I need to write that second part
Yeah,
down.
I am obligated to bless my word. God, right? Um, Also, do I trust that God is a better provider? He put down Matthew 9:37-38. I'm gonna just pull it up here because that'd be really fun. That was such an amazing, like Cap. Chatfield, guys, if you have not followed him, like follow him. He's got some amazing stuff. So Matthew 9, 37 and 38. Um, then saith he unto his disciples, the harvest truly is plenteous, but the laborers are few. Pray ye therefore the Lord of the harvest that he will send forth laborers into his harvest. Do you have a different Bible version?
Oh, I'm sure I do. I was writing down
I
what you're
mean, I can I
saying.
can
What
I
verse
can
was
pull
it? Matthew.
Matthew 9, 37 and 38. I mean, I can pull out my Gen Z version.
Oh, you get that ready, Matthew
Hold on, you're gonna
9.
see my present stack right there behind.
I'm gonna need this is gonna be sad because pretty soon I'm gonna need to get like the large print version of the Bible.
Sad, that's what I got.
36 and 37, you said?
37 and 38. So Matthew 9,
37,
37
30.
and 38.
Then he said to his disciples, the harvest is plentiful, but the workers are few. Ask the Lord of the harvest, therefore, to send out workers into his harvest field.
All right, the Gen Z version says, he told his crew, the harvest is huge, but the workers are few. Pray to send more workers into the harvest.
Well, that was simple. That was Gen Z Bible. That was a little disappointing. There was no.
Yo, yo, yo.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna forever be traumatized by Yo Yo Yo, Mary is Prego. That one. I just, I don't know.
I still haven't posted that one because I'm like, I don't know if it's just a little on the irreverent side or, but again, this Gen Z Bible, somebody had to really, really research it. I grew up with the King James version, so this is where I'm comfortable, but it's also really still confusing. So I need to get another version
Yeah,
because checking all the different versions, it's kind of amazing.
it's
But
different perspectives almost a little bit.
mhm,
It's saying the same thing, but you get a little different nugget.
yeah. So just to finish what Cap had said, there is more than enough for all. The things I gotta read my writing for so essentially there's enough to give, right? God send me into the harvest. And what am I unwilling to release to God? Ooh, that's a really good one. It's hard because you write down things in the moment. You're like, why did I write this down? What did I put this down
Mhm.
for? But he's talking about season one, when is your timing? And then he talks about the field. Oh, I missed one of the scriptures, I think. But he's got Joel 3, 10 and 11. So we can look this up. This is really, really great. I don't know my Bible enough to know where that is easy.
Where's the end of the
Oh, there it is.
Old Testament? That's okay. I can't even find my.
Joel 3, 10 and 11. So we've got beat your plowshares into swords and your pruning hooks into spears. Let the weak say, I am strong. Assemble yourselves and come, all ye heathens, and gather yourselves together round about. Hither, cause thy mighty ones to come down, O Lord. So
Mm, What was that? Joel what?
Joel 3, 10 and 11.
Okay, read yours again, would you?
Beat your plowshares into swords and your pruning hooks into spears. Let the weak say, I am strong. Assemble yourselves and come, all ye heathens, and gather yourselves together round about thither. Cause thy mighty ones to come and look down, O Lord.
So interesting. My verse 10 is pretty much word for word the same as yours. Beat your plowshares into swords and let your pruning hooks into spears. Let the weaklings say, I am strong. But then verse 11 says, come quickly, all you nations from every side, and assemble there. Bring down your warriors, O Lord.
Let's see what it says here. Again, I'm just digging this Gen Z version because it just
I kind of love it. I mean, it grows on you, I will say.
it kind of does. Turn your farming tools into weapons and let the weak act tough. Round up your crews, all you non-believers, and bring them to the party and bring down your toughest players, Lord.
It's like, bring it. We're gonna rumble. That's what I get from Gen Z. Like I see West Side Story, like it's like you know what I mean? Like that's where my brain goes.
Yeah. But so Cap was talking about, trusting that God's a better provider. You've got your season, you go into the field, then he's got First Corinthians 3:9, right?
Cap just wants all of us using our Bible is what's happening here.
Right? There's Corinthians. Ah, see, I'm finding it. First Corinthians 3:9. He says, These were all the sons of David, besides the sons of their concubines and Tamar, their sister. Am I the maybe? Oh, I'm in Chronicles. I'm
I
like,
was gonna be like, this is not what mine
that does
says.
not make sense. Would you read yours? Because I've got to find mine. I was so excited and that was wrong.
First Corinthians 3:9. For we are God's fellow workers. You are God's field, God's building.
All right. For we are laborers together with God. Ye are God's husbandry, ye are God's buildings. God's building.
Which I mean, boy, that's a whole conversation unto itself, right? Like that falls into the whole we are the temple of God in all ways. Like we're that
Yep.
representative in terms of I have First Corinthians 3:16 highlighted in my Bible, where don't you know that you yourselves are God's temple and that God's spirit lives in you? If anyone destroys God's temple, God will destroy him, for God's temple is sacred and you are that temple.
So when you put all these together, hold on. So 3:9.
We're going to the Gen Z.
We are going to the Gen Z. It's really wide, so it's hard to.
You know,
So there we go. This is actually pretty good. So are we better than others? Heck no. We've already shown that everyone, Jews and non-Jews alike, are all messed up with sin.
yeah. As I said, it kind of grows on you because it's just like plain talk. It's
Yeah.
like, you both kind of suck. And one's not better than the other because we all sin. Like we all like there's no one is perfect.
Yeah. So it's just kind of cool that it goes into all this. I also have C photo. Apparently he put all the stuff on the screen and I must have taken a photo of it. So I'll have to go back to that.
I
But
have
this,
so many screenshots on my phone and now I have to try and match them up to I'm like, who does this go to?
yeah, so it's just kind of interesting that he takes us through that. There's a couple more.
Hmm.
And I think we'll just go through those. Unfortunately, I got to jump off here pretty soon, but Exodus 4, 1 through 5.
You'd think since it's right in the front of the Bible, I would find it quicker, but my little pages stick together.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's 1 through 5. And Moses answered and said, well, I make sure I was in the right one. But behold, they will not believe me, nor hearken unto my voice, for they will say, The Lord hath not appeared unto thee. And the Lord said unto him, What is that is in thine hand? And he said, A rod. And he said, Cast it on the ground. And he cast it on the ground, and it became a serpent. And Moses fled from before it. And the Lord said unto Moses, Put forth thine hand, and take it up by the tail. And he put forth his hand, and he caught it, and it became a rod in his hand. I remember this part because he was like, the Lord is talking to him, saying, Hey, do this, throw it down, it's gonna become this. And Moses kind of like he got freaked out by it. Like, pick it back up. And he's
Yeah.
like, it's a serpent. The Lord's like, yeah, I told you, pick it back up.
He did better than I would, Moses. He's a better listener than I ever have been. Mine says Moses answered, "What if they do not believe me or listen to me and say, 'The Lord did not appear to you?'" Then the Lord said to him, "What is that in your hand?" "A staff," he replied. The Lord said, "Throw it on the ground." Moses threw it on the ground, and it became a snake, and he ran from it. Then the Lord said to him, "Reach out your hand and take it by the tail." So Moses reached out and took hold of the snake, and it turned back into a staff in his hand. "This," said the Lord, "is so that they may believe the God, the Lord, the God of their fathers, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob has appeared to you."
Very cool. All right. So like Moses was all, bro, they ain't gonna believe me or listen to me because they ain't gonna they're gonna be like, nah, God didn't show up to you. Then God was like, dude, what's in your hand? And Moses was like, just a rod, man. And then God was like, chuck it on the ground. So he did, and it turned to a snake, freaking Moses out. Then God was like, I'll like grab it by the tail. And when Moses did, it turned back into a rod, and God was like, see, they gotta believe you now. So this is all so they know that it's God, the God of their ancestors, who's talking to Moses.
I don't know about you. So I always hear like different, like when you read something, does like a song come to you or do you hear something? Like have you
Sometimes.
ever seen Polly Shore and Son-in-Law? So when you read that Bible, like that's what I hear. Like my like that's the voice I hear.
Again, it simplifies things down so much.
It does. I mean, I love
All
it.
right. There's one more, Matthew 13:23. All right. And then that'll finish up kind of what Cap was talking about, which was I'm not obligated to bless your version of my vision. I'm obligated to bless my word. So Matthew 13:23. But he that receiveth seed unto the ground, the good ground is he that heareth the word and understandeth it, which also beareth fruit and bringeth forth some an hundredfold, some 60, and some 30.
But the one who received the seed that fell on good soil is the man who hears the word and understands it. He produces a crop yielding 160 or 30 times what was sown.
Matthew 13:23, Gen Z. Let the wheat grow. It is like really small and it's all the way across this big book. Let the wheat grow till then.
That was it.
That was it.
What I love about that Matthew 23 is I think like I get two things from it. One is, and I think we were just talking about this last time, is like God has such bigger things in store for us. And like, that's one of many places where God's saying, follow me, do it my way, and I will multiply what comes from it. And that was one of the other things that one of the speakers said at Faith Over Here is if you read through the Bible, God never adds, everything's multiplied,
Yeah,
like big multiplied.
it's so funny. So I guess to sum up today, like I really like how Cap said it. I'm not obligated to bless your version of my vision. I'm obligated to bless my word. So if you really want to
Amen.
know what God has in store for you, ask him.
Yeah.
And then make sure that you are doing the research. Actually, make sure that you are stopping and listening to what he has for you. And I believe Ray was the one that was going to say most often it is not something comfortable.
Yeah, for sure.
Like coming on here and doing this, me not knowing what I'm doing and just being out there is not comfortable for me. I was a musical theater major. Like I would memorize my lines. I'd memorize my every move, my every whatever. And this just coming on to me like, well, I'm gonna mispronounce these words because I haven't read them before and I haven't practiced it. It's not comfortable for me. But hopefully, I mean, for me, I learn something every single time we do this. And hopefully, you guys who are out there watching this are learning something, or if nothing else, we're giving you a good giggle, right?
Exactly. One of the two.
All right. Shannon, do you have any parting words?
I think you said it perfectly.
All right. Hope you guys have a very blessed day.